There's something sacred about the hours before the world fully wakes up. When everything is still and the sky begins to blush with the soft colors of dawn, it feels like God is whispering, "I'm doing something new." The darkness hasn't fully lifted, but you can see the light stretching over the horizon, a quiet promise that no matter how long the night was, morning always comes. Maybe your soul has been walking through a long night. Maybe you've been holding on by a thread, waiting for a sign that things are shifting, praying for assurance that you haven't been forgotten. This very moment where your breath meets silence could be that sign. You see, God often works in the background, like seeds breaking open beneath the soil long before we see a sprout. And just because you haven't seen the breakthrough yet doesn't mean it isn't coming. The Bible reminds us that those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. That's not just poetry, it's a promise. Your tears are not forgotten. Your prayers are not in vain. Heaven has heard the cries you whispered in the dark, and the Creator who paints every sunrise is painting a path forward for you, even now. Sometimes we wait for life to feel easy before we praise. Sometimes we believe that hope has to look loud, fireworks, cleared skies, instant answers. But what if hope is quiet? What if it's a flicker before the flame, a whisper before the wind shifts, a mustard seed sitting invisibly in the soil of your faith? What if this very morning, God is calling you to trust Him not because all your questions are answered, but because He's never failed you and He won't start now? So for the next few minutes, I invite you to breathe. Let go of the pressure to figure everything out. Release the fear that you have to fight through today on your own. The same God who held you through the night is holding you now. Stay with me until the end of this video. We're going to pray together. And whether you're surrounded by silence or chaos, I believe something sacred will begin to stir inside you again: peace, courage, and the assurance that God is already moving. So here, breathing in this hush where yesterday's worries haven't fully caught up and the world outside your window is still soft and undone, let's make a pact, just you and me, right here, right now. This moment isn't asking for perfection or answers. It's simply offering a gentle space to be with what is. Before we even move forward into the beauty that's waiting for us, let's touch the present, because something shifts when you stop running and just arrive. In a few minutes, I'll reveal why gratitude in the waiting might be more powerful than gratitude after the breakthrough. But first, come close and feel where you are. Let your breath be your anchor. Feel the cool air as it tingles against your lips. Notice how your chest gently rises, the steady beat pulsing beneath your ribs, a quiet reminder that you're still here. Maybe you're clutching your mug, warmth creeping into your palms, or maybe your feet are tucked beneath a blanket as dawn presses against the glass. Pause with me. Close your eyes for a second and hear the world. The faint hum in your room, the distant promise of birds, the softness of fabric against your skin. This body, weary or restless, is worthy of deep thanks, regardless of what it carries. Even if it aches, even if you feel there's not much left to give, your heartbeat is a quiet yes to this new morning. Somewhere, someone longed for this simple gift of waking up. Your presence here is not a mistake. It's a miracle in the mundane. There's strength in just being, and while much remains unfinished, right now, just for a heartbeat, let's whisper our gratitude to the one who holds every unseen atom together. But it's not just your heartbeat that matters. Gratitude stretches further, reaching into the web of connections that have shaped you. Who was the last person who gifted you a smile you didn't expect? Whose message blinked onto your screen right when your courage started to wane? Maybe you're thinking of a mother's voice, even if cracked with exhaustion, recalling a brother who quietly fixed your leaking faucet, or that friend who just sat with you, saying nothing, needing nothing. Even if your family is fractured, even if friendships have wavered, you are not an island. There's a thread running through all our stories, a divine reminder that you were never meant to carry the load alone. Remember how manna appeared each morning for the weary travelers in the desert. Not all at once, never overwhelming, just enough for today. That same provision echoes in imperfect hugs whispered prayers, or a quick call at midnight. Maybe you haven't noticed these small mercies because pain has its own way of drowning out what's gentle. But look again. The people in your life, broken, beautiful, or somewhere in between, are evidence that grace takes shape in ordinary faces. Even when the connections fray, love keeps finding ways to reach you. Are you willing to see it, even on messy mornings like this? Then there's the gratitude that defies logic, invisible but more real than anything you can taste or touch. Spiritual gratitude slips through the cracks of doubt, filling the quiet with something almost electric, a vibration you can't name, like light seeping through closed curtains. Perhaps you sense it in the way sunrise paints gold on everything it touches, or how peace presses softly against your fear, asking you to trust what you cannot see. You're not just drifting, untethered. There's purpose pulsing beneath the surface, even when silence feels heavier than any answer. Think of the prophet lying by the brook, fed by ravens in the wilderness, sustained though everything else had dried up. That's grace, disguised as waiting. What tension are you holding right now? Is it the unanswered prayer, the dream deferred, the silence after crying out for something to shift? You're not alone in that stretching. There's a blessing germinating beneath the frustration, something only time can coax into bloom. And before this story is finished, we're going to confront that ache together. But for now, consider, what if trust is the truest form of gratitude? And what if what you're waiting for is closer than you realize? Gratitude opens doors, but the deepest transformation begins when we move beyond thanks for what is visible. There's a reason so many never experience the shift. They stop at the surface. They overlook the power of what's hidden and unfinished. But there's an invitation waiting in the next moments. To uncover the layer beneath, to recognize the sacred in what feels ordinary, to find a subtle strength that only grows when you keep showing up in faith. I know you're wondering, how do you hold on when hope feels fragile and your prayers hang in the air like questions with no echo? That's the question we'll wrestle with soon. Because as dawn keeps climbing, there's something more, something trembling on the edge of becoming. And if you're willing, I promise you, the next step will change how you see everything. Don't let go now. Something is already shifting beneath the surface, and in the next chapter, we're stepping into light most people never notice, until it's already transformed them. But this is only the beginning of what God is weaving beneath the surface, isn't it? Pause, feel the irony. All that stillness you just noticed, the hush holding your room, is actually charged with invisible motion. What's been ordinary is quietly awakening to something deep within you. Take a breath and blink. The difference between an unopened eye and one that's seen light isn't just sight, it's recognition. God isn't inviting you to be passive. He's opening your spiritual eyes right now to perceive what's been moving all along. Imagine if every breath wasn't just air, it was a whisper saying, "Look deeper, there's more." You ever notice how a single seed in your hand can feel cold, lifeless, almost disappointing? Hold it, and nothing gives away the miracles buried inside. But plant it, bury it in the dark, and you're planting a secret. It disappears for days, the waiting feels empty, unremarkable. Yet underneath, unseen, there's a silent upheaval. Roots push through stone, shells crack, destiny reshapes. You might think your mornings, your routines, your slow Saturdays, even your tired prayers, are seeds that go unnoticed. But God sees the roots before the stem. Like the rain that gives life to parched ground, provision sometimes hides inside what looks like lack. Recall the widow in the old story, the oil and flour, barely enough for one meal, yet they never ran out. What's the flour in your jar right now that you've underestimated? Don't miss the sacred potential sleeping in plain sight. Stay with me because here's where the river runs deeper. So much of spiritual life is about learning to see the hidden doors lining our days, thresholds disguised as obstacles or pauses. Ever felt like nothing is happening, yet your insides are restless? That boredom is a passage, not a prison. Every waiting room, every unanswered message is an invisible door, trembling in its hinges, waiting for you to lean in and listen. What if the ache you carry is not a sign of absence, but proof of divine movement underground? This is the paradox. Transformation is loud only in retrospect. When the disciples thought Jesus was silent in their storm, he was already walking on the waves toward them, before they ever recognized his presence. Light slips through the cracks long before you notice the room is filling. Let's zoom in, closer than comfort, to where thoughts and hopes tangle. Maybe you're remembering the taste of disappointment, the scent of a room that once held laughter now echoing with silence. Yet while you sit, coffee cooling, God is already stitching threads you can't see. The sunrise outside your window isn't just the world turning, it's God painting a new beginning on top of yesterday's shadows. And as you step into your ordinary moments, folding laundry, picking up fallen keys, there's a presence folding patience into these actions, declaring they are not wasted. You are moving through holy ground, even in socks and slippers. Isn't it strange? The nothing you feared is often God's canvas for creation. But let's pull back. How does this scale to the universe? While you're waiting for a text, the heavens are shifting. While you worry about what's next, the Spirit is already preparing the answer. There's an enemy who wants you blind to this choreography, whispering that waiting means nothing's happening. But what if those delays are actually setups for a miracle in motion? The Israelites thought the sea would be their end, but the wind was already dividing waters, long before their feet touched the mud. Have you noticed how silence sometimes feels heavy, almost unbearable? That's the birthplace of breakthroughs most people miss. The adversary works in distraction, hoping you'll walk away before the moment arrives. Still, I need to tell you something crucial, something urgent before the light changes for good. Not every closed door means you're denied. Sometimes, the invisible becomes visible at the last possible moment, just when surrender seems easiest. Before you rush on, consider this. What if the unanswered prayer is really an unopened door? What if you're a blink away from recognizing the miracle hiding as monotony? There's a presence stirring. Will you stay attentive, even as tension rises in the quiet? Or will you miss what God is birthing beneath your feet, because you thought silence meant stop? The next chapter will demand a different kind of courage. But for now, tell me, can you sense it? Just beyond your doubt, something holy wants to break through, but not everyone will recognize the moment. Will you? Chapter 3. The contested ground I know exactly where you are right now. I know the landscape behind your eyes, the late-night echoes, the heaviness that rides your chest every morning. We've both felt that cold, paralyzing suspicion that our prayers disappear into silence, that God is real for others but distant for us. There are days when disappointment clings like a second skin, when memories taste like regret and the future seems shrouded. We've stood in that quiet war between wanting to believe and fearing the letdown. This isn't weakness, this is reality. We all touch it. You're not disqualified because you struggle. Holy ground often looks like confusion before it looks like courage. Don't let anyone tell you your battle isn't real. I see it. God sees it. We are in this together. But now we have to face the enemy in the open. The truth no one wants to say is this. There is a battle raging for your attention, your hope, your very identity. And some lies have wrapped themselves so tightly around us, we can't always tell where they end and we begin. Maybe you've believed the lie that your worth is measured by your performance, that if you stumble, God turns away. Or the deceit that your past cannot be redeemed, that the darkness behind you will always haunt the light ahead. Or perhaps the cruelest lie of all, that your waiting means abandonment, that your pain is proof you're alone. But let's bring these into the light, because the enemy works best in shadows. Think about Peter. He denied Jesus the very night he swore loyalty. Fear convinced him he was finished, but grace found him by the fire and called him forward. Remember Thomas? He doubted the resurrection, demanded proof. But Jesus didn't shame his skepticism. Instead, he reached out with scars as an answer. It's tempting to settle into these lies. They feel familiar, almost safe. But perhaps you've built your shelter with prison walls. If you're listening close, you'll feel the air tightening. Even now, as you sit here, the enemy is at work, whispering doubts, amplifying your fears, magnifying every shame. While you listen, the spiritual battlefield sharpens. Your mind is under bombardment, your heart under siege. The fear of rejection circles like a predator. The accusation of failure rattles its chains. The weight of weariness tries to crush you before you even rise. There's motion in the unseen, a real resistance against the stirring you sensed, forces committed to keeping you numb, distracted, paralyzed. If we don't act now, numbness deepens into surrender, surrender fractures into regret. This is the moment. The adversary will not wait for permission. Every minute you hesitate, another brick is added to the walls around your heart. Can you feel the conflict within you reaching a fever pitch? This is not the time to turn away. The silence you feel is not empty. It's the crack before the thunder, the tension before deliverance. If you let this go, shadow wins by default. But listen, this is the word that splits the night. But God's truth is stronger than your fiercest doubt. The real story is this. Your value was settled at the cross. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Romans 5:8. Your past does not dictate your tomorrow. If anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. 2 Corinthians 5:17. And your waiting is not wasted. Those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. Isaiah 40:31. The enemy wants you to believe the night is permanent, but it is. Light breaks in ways sudden and unstoppable. The power that raised Jesus from stone-cold silence is present right here in the cracks of your routine. What the enemy fears most is you waking up to the weapons in your hand. The word, prayer, worship, authority given you by Christ. This is what the adversary cannot counterfeit or kill. The contest is fierce, but the victory is already sown within you. This changes everything. You are not a pawn, but a warrior called to take back the ground beneath your feet. It's time to stand. No more shrinking back. No more letting fear name your boundaries. Tonight we put on the armor, the belt of truth, breastplate of righteousness, the shield of faith. We step into battle, not because we're unafraid, but because we are armed by the promise that God fights for those who cannot fight alone. We cannot stay comfortable at the edge. Too much is at stake. The next chapter is not for bystanders. Are you willing to contend for what's been promised, to step forward while the war is still raging? Are you ready to move from bystander to warrior, to face the darkness with the light that cannot be defeated? What happens next is the turning of the war. Will you answer the call? Will you step onto the contested ground? Get ready, the time for transformation is now. Chapter 4, the turning point asterisk enough. This is the line, right here, right now. I sever every agreement I made with defeat. I will not drag old chains into this new day. I refuse to live in the shadows, to kneel before anxiety one more night. My spirit erupts, a battle cry against every lie rooted in my bones. I choose in this breath, in this heartbeat, I will not go back. I set fire to my hesitation. I stand to wage holy war for my future. I declare, the old story ends now. With my own mouth, I carve a new reality. I am done bowing to the voice that tells me to stay small, to settle, to surrender. I refuse to let one more sunrise pass in silent defeat. I decide with finality, I am not who I was. I will not return to that darkness. This is the moment my history changes direction. I will never be the same. I reject every accusation that says I am too broken to be chosen. I reject the lie that my value depends on my best or worst day. I reject shame. I rip it from my chest and throw it to the ground. I reject the voice that says God is silent, that my prayers evaporate unnoticed. I reject the toxin of comparison and the poison of regret. I reject the curse of paralysis. I break every chain of passivity that anchored me to yesterday. I reject the thought that my waiting is wasted. I uproot the belief that pain proves I'm alone. Fear has no home in me. I drive doubt from the corners of my mind. I reject the warping grip of failure. I shatter the myth that my scars are my story. I reject every shadow's whisper and declare, I am inaccessible to the schemes of darkness. Every stronghold crumbles as I speak. I refuse despair. I refuse stagnation. I refuse despair's cold grip. As I raise my voice, something in the atmosphere breaks. I am not the sum of losses. I declare it loud. I declare it final. Let every lingering lie dissolve. I am a child of the living God, chosen, set apart, sealed with fire. I am the righteousness of God in Christ, my standing unshakable, my identity untouchable. I am forgiven, not later now. I am redeemed, my past rendered powerless, my future purchased with victory. I am the light, darkness recognizes me and flees. I am a warrior, not a wanderer. I belong on the battlefield, not in the margins of my story. I am called and equipped, nothing missing, nothing broken. I am wrapped in perfect love. Fear cannot find a foothold. I am a vessel of resurrection power. The same spirit that raised Christ from the grave lives in me. I am more than a conqueror. My weaknesses are altars where strength is revealed. I am seen, I am celebrated. I have favor in heavenly places. I am a new creation. My destiny is not tethered to my history. I am clothed in truth, armed with peace, shielded by faith. I am not waiting for freedom. I walk in it. I am prophetic evidence that light always wins. I rise to my feet now and take back my territory. I break through every wall built by defeat. I advance relentlessly. I open my mouth and prophesy life over dry places. I lay claim to peace, joy, and restored hope, today, not tomorrow. I step into the places I once avoided. I confront what used to control me. I reach out to those around me, lifting others as I climb. I pray boldly, I worship out loud. I shout my freedom even before it's visible. I use my history as a weapon. I weaponize my scars. I convert my wounds into wisdom. I set boundaries where I once surrendered. I call forth what is mine. I move, I act, I possess every promise set before me. I do not hesitate. I do not shrink. I march as one who knows the outcome is already written. It is done. The old has been buried. The ground trembles in agreement. My chains have shattered. My voice echoes with unsilenced victory. Today is the day I cross the threshold. What was impossible is now my inheritance. I see doors flung open, impossible things unraveling. My hands have already grasped what I once only hoped for. It is decided, sealed, finished. I am the living evidence that God's promises never return empty. I carry authority into every room I enter. The war was turning. Now the war turns through me. Heaven's decree resounds. The battle is won. The transformation is irreversible. The new future has arrived. If you believe it, declare it aloud. Let the next chapter begin. Chapter 5. The consecration asterisk. Now, let's breathe. Let the storm of battle fall silent. Right now, as you hear these words, allow a sacred stillness to settle around you. This is not just another moment. This is the altar where the old ends and the new is sealed. I invite you, place your hand on your heart. Close your eyes. Wherever you are, room or street, you are standing on holy ground. Thousands with you right now are about to cross the same threshold. Let's consecrate what God has ignited. Speak these words out loud or let them rise deep within you. Repeat after me. Father, I surrender. Every chain, every scar, every part of my past I tried to hide or carry alone. I release defeat, comparison, regret, and fear. I lay them at your feet. I let go of the need to perform, the voice of shame, the grip of anxiety. I give you my story, my history. All rivers of disappointment now flow to your altar. I receive your love right now. I accept my identity as chosen, equipped, redeemed, and set apart. I receive my freedom, not tomorrow now. I receive the vision you spoke, the promises you sealed since the beginning. Lord, I declare, darkness is behind me. The old agreements are broken and I refuse to take back what you have cut away. Where there was hesitation, I now step fully in. Where I once shrank back, I rise. Where I feared rejection, I now embrace acceptance. Where I carried wounds, I now see wisdom. I offer myself, my voice, my scars, my territory. I commit. I will not retreat. I will speak life. Every sunrise, I will remember your faithfulness. I promise to lift others, to pray boldly, to shine as testimony that light always wins. I dedicate my future, my family, my work, my dreams, and my fears. I claim all that you have spoken. I seal in your presence, I am yours. My life is a living declaration. Let it be so in Jesus' name. Now see it, asterisk, I see you, 1 year from today. Your face is radiant, your hands strong from having rebuilt what once lay in ruins. I see laughter echoing in rooms where silence once reigned. You walk with a posture that cannot be bowed by old fears. I see you holding the keys to doors that once felt locked forever, crossing thresholds, welcomed into places you thought were for others. You gather with family and friends. Peace swells in every conversation, hope alive in every glance. I see you tending what you once mourned, watering the dreams you once called dead, watching fruit bloom from old deserts. You wake each day with anticipation, not dread. Children play at your feet, partners stand proud beside you. Work flows from purpose, not pressure. Your failures turned ladders, your scars glow as testimony. And I hear you telling your story and others rise by the fire you carry. God's promise fulfilled in the texture of your days. So now, under the authority of the one who redeems stories, I declare over your life a blessing that cannot be revoked. May light invade every shadow. May new songs arise where fear once echoed. I speak blessing over your family. Restoration flows like a river, old rifts healed. Seeds of joy take root and flourish. Over your work, let favor go before you. Doors open wide and creativity spring up. Over your health, I declare renewal, strength in weakness, wholeness in body, mind, and spirit. Over your purpose, clarity and boldness to act, provision for every step you take. May you be surrounded by voices that affirm heaven's call and led into every place prepared for you. You are not abandoned. You are not overlooked. You are a sign for victory, marked by love and kept by peace. The testimony will not end here. What God began, no power can stop. If this was your moment, here's what to do. First, write EUDCLARO in the comments. Publicly cement your surrender and faith. Thousands have gone before you, and your voice matters in this family.